Saturday, which was on perplexed personality, was actually a game changer. I had a lot of people tell me that it simplified a lot of things, and you have to tell me in the comments, or just by raising your digital hands or by unmuting yourself, ki the while growing up in school and while growing up in a household, we were never questioned in terms of what is the intentions. We were never questions about our actions. We were never questioned about why we were doing it. We were just told this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And it continued going that way. How many of you felt this way? Questions were entirely missing. So today, if I had to ask you, how do you describe yourself, for example, people don't know how to describe themselves, right? They don't know the attributes of themselves. They don't know the values they hold. So when they are not even told or are not even aware of that, and that actually starts at a awareness stage, and that awareness stage starts at a very young age, in that you're a teen, adolescent, puberty time, when you're going through so much, you're questioning a lot of things, and you're questioning one of those people, like aise bachche hote hain, like I know I'm one of those kids who constantly says why. I like to ask why. So my why is always used to get answered, but I started understanding and recognizing what was the key issue, why I was doing something and why I was not doing something. So all those people who are joining in, good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sareena. Again, I'm going to start.
Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning. It is 8:05. And today, my topic for discussion is identity loss. So my question to all of you before I begin is, did you ever feel that questions about your own identity, questions about who you were as a personality while growing up, were missing?
Yes, actually, initially we picked up from our parents or teachers that how one should be. We need to perform in studies and this sport and this exhibition, this and that. Then again, okay, we need to get a job in office. We need to perform as a best employee or something. Or in family, we need to be, at times for few kids, it's like goody goody bacha of parents and teachers and everybody. Yeah, so at times we become uh, so people pleasing, and we try to fit in the world around us, that what we really are actually from inside, at times we lose that, or at times we are not aware that what
Exactly.
actually matters to us.
Exactly. We never questioned it. Time
The
in mila.
age of 40, when they say that midlife crisis or something like that. So, I mean, you start questioning, because by the time you reach at that age, you see that who is standing with you, what really matters, and that time you try to create a really what you own. I mean, what you are. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And thanks
Perfect.
for
Thank
bringing
you.
this topic. This is really powerful.
The reason why I picked up this topic is because this is part of my work. So identity loss is something that I actually experienced. So I'll tell you this, okay? While growing up, I'll talk a little bit about myself, just a couple of minutes. So while growing up, I was someone who was very questioning child. Why? क्यों जरूरत है, क्या जरूरत है, क्यों करने की जरूरत है, why do I need to sit this way, why do I need to behave this way, and all of that, and all of those questions gave me answers. Some of them didn't make sense, obviously, as a child. But while I was growing up in school, I had developed this concept where I was sure about what I wanted. And obviously, anyone who's older than me, I might be maybe the last few generations, where the concept of parents when they were, raising us was all about, you need to be a very good human being. So the good human being was kept at a very high value. So the reason why they kept answering those questions for me while I was growing up was mostly based out of who I was going to turn out to be. So in school, I had developed this concept, and I had just kind of not, I wouldn't say I was a rebel, but I started recognizing who I was. I started understanding my strengths and I started acknowledging it and accepting it. So I became very, very confident in school to the point where I also was into martial arts. So this age of confidence and this age of, oh my god, I'm just like this new kid on the, in school, who is into martial arts, and who doesn't is not a very girly and who's so sorted and who's so blunt and brash and this and that. And from someone like that as a personality, I went into someone who was completely opposite to just being such a goody, such a people pleaser, such a person who didn't know how to, say no, a person who was constantly working on someone else's perception. And I completely lost myself. And it was also based out of the fact where we all grow up with these storybooks of happily ever after. All right. And a lot of those were based out of storybooks, and a lot of those were based out of Bollywood movies. India is a land of emotions. So it changes your concept and perception entirely. So everything is based out of the goody shoes of those Bhagwan, and hero meets the heroine. They live happily ever after. Nobody talks about the uncomfortable things happening at home. And it reaches a point where you want to inculcate that into your life because that is so dreamlike. पता ही नहीं, happily ever after हो गया, now what? ना किसी ने दिखाया, ना किसी ने डिस्कस करा. थोड़े बहुत एस्पेक्ट्स दिखाए कि oh my god, they're happy together, so let's make it work. And in that entire time, we were just, how should I say, chasing that happily ever after, right? We were chasing the fact that a 9 to 5 job was going to sort out for us. The chasing the fact that having a business of your own was also going to work. We were constantly running after something, and in that running, we were not recognizing, we were not questioning, we were in a way losing small parts of us. So in if I have to talk about identity loss, I'm sure a lot of you would have gone through it because it's such an unconscious thing that we did. And it could be, I'll tell you, mine was because of stresses, right? For someone else, it could be something else. So identity loss, if I have to just generally break it down, it talks about how you may be questioning your sense of self or your identity, which occurs due to these major stresses in life. And they could be in any age group. Let me tell you this, I mean, I love the fact that you picked up the question and the point of midlife crisis. It actually starts from a younger age because children want to know why, the reason behind it, the reason their curious mind wants to understand. If they do this, what happens? If they do this, what happens? And a lot of times they will not listen to us and find another way to do it so that they can recognize that there is another way, right? So it starts from school, work, childhood, all of that. And because we are, as adults, we have stopped questioning. As adults, we have stopped that curiosity. As adults, we've stopped caring. We stop questioning. The only questions now we do is as a doubt, right? We don't question ourselves so that we get an answer. We question ourselves because we have self-doubt. And that self-doubt has come from, again, our past, our childhood, school, teachers, tutors, anyone. At that vulnerable stage when someone was constantly telling you that if we didn't do this, we weren't going to be this. And everything was based out of fear. Everyone who tried to get you to do something was based out of fear. Right from your very, very young age, when guests used to come and they used to say, Beta, auntie ko hello bolo, for example. Someone as small as that, as a kid, auntie ko hello bolo, and the child doesn't feel comfortable. What have we done? We've pushed the child. Say hello, say hello, say hello. Why are you not saying, auntie ko kya lagega? कि आप अच्छे बच्चे नहीं हो, आप मम्मी का कहना नहीं मानते. What are you trying to do? You are trying to constantly tell the kid that it is not acceptable, that you, if you don't say hello, will be termed a ganda bacha, will be termed Someone who doesn't listen to their mother will be termed as another judgment passed on by the woman. Anything. So we used fear. Convenience. It's actually just convenience. Because they were not taught how to talk in the sensible manner and what kind of projection they were putting onto the child. They didn't talk to us. So it is a pattern that got, how should I say, it just got transferred off from one generation to the other generation. So there are actions that we need to understand in today's day and age. Because when we start questioning our thoughts, so my recent webinar that I did with Maven, which was on perplexed personalities, I don't know how many of you attended it. Or anybody, I know Preethamji attended it, and obviously the team was here. Anyone else who attended my perplexed personality workshop on Saturday, last Saturday? Okay. So that actually talked about you describing yourself, you talking about yourself, you knowing who you are. And I had a bunch of questions. And those questions actually made you ponder and find evidence for it. For example, if I'm talking about this as an example, कि आप छोटे बच्चे को अगर बोलते हो कि बेटा आप मम्मी को हेलो क्यों नहीं बोल रहे, तो you will be coined as a गंदा बच्चा. That is evidence that you remember. Now, the same thing happens if you want to remember good things about yourself. For example, today I say, why don't you all give yourself, how would you describe yourself in 5 positive adjectives, right? You want to say, other than the roles that you play. I'm not talking that you're a man. I'm not talking that you're a father. I'm not talking that you're a mother. I'm not saying that you're a CEO. I'm not saying that you're an entrepreneur. Apart from all that, that you have black hair, apart from the fact that you have a slimmer build, nothing matters. Who are you? If I have to ask you, who are you? And if I have to ask you if you can describe yourself in 5 words, 5 adjectives. After you find your 5 adjectives, find the evidence. If you call yourself kind, how are you kind? Because what happens is we are consumed and confused with the thought of who we are than actually who we are. And who we are actually is based out of our actions. How many of you agree? Right? That's exactly what I want to talk to you about. Today's entire conversation is just based out of you knowing who you are. So find evidence in your mind, because your mind is very smart. It will give you answers. It will take you back to a time where you can recognize. If I say I'm kind, I know I'm kind when I help an old lady on the street. I know I'm kind when I help a dog. I know I am kind when I go out of my way for someone else, random person on the street. I remember actions. I have evidence in my mind where I can call myself kind. And every time I give myself an adjective, every time I talk about myself, I get to know myself more. अब होता क्या है ना, while we were growing up, the concept of society is very important to us, right? They all talk about the fact कि आपकी संगति का बहुत असर होता है. They all talk about that you should be very aware of the kind of people you want to be with. Your mindset changes, your behavior changes, your action changes. All of that matters. But why? It matters simply because when you start acting a certain way, when they receive it, they accept it, the validation comes from there for you. Right? What we have done, one, we have, how should I say, restricted ourselves in our comfort zones. So we stay in our comfort zones. We don't move out of our comfort zones. Second, we don't hang around with great people where our mindset can change and our actions can change in return. And third, eventually, there is nothing that changes within us where we get to know another aspect of our personality. अब अगर मैं personality development में जाऊं, so there are enough coaches out here who talk about the 16 different personalities who talk about so many attributes to your personality. All of that is great. Lekin, as a life that you're living, as an action-based life that you're living every single day, what are you doing? Are you actually living it, or are you actually thinking it? So in my session that I did on Saturday, I asked everyone, do you know who you are, or do you like the version of yourself? Do you like yourself, or do you like the version of yourself? Because it's very important to know. If you just keep thinking in the thought that, you know what, I know I'm like this, there is no evidence backing it up. You have never done that kind of an action. You actually contradict that action. The thought is different, the action is different. You are contradicting your life. You will constantly stay confused. And as you keep staying confused, you'll never get clarity. And you'll reach a point where you'll burn out. How many of you know this? We all go through burnout, right? From a very young age to toddlers to people who are going through, no, sorry, not toddlers, adolescents, sorry. Adolescent kids to people who are dealing with young adults, people who are in college, all of that. The moment we start confusing, the moment there is clash, the moment there is just a misfit of this person who you are. And it's very important to also know the negatives of yourself also. It's very important. We start defending ourselves in today's day and age of who we are, what our intention is, what our action is. But do you know who you are? पता भी है? Because बहुत बार ये होता है, if you don't know who you are, you defend yourself, your anger goes out of control and you start losing it. How many of you know this?
I know.
Right? So when you don't know yourself, you go into defense mode and people are like looking and they start questioning your actions. Because they'll say, thought तो बहुत बढ़िया है, fantastic, very good, yes, सही बोल रहे हो आप. लेकिन action में जब आता है तो action zero. क्योंकि वो contradict हो रहा है. Contradict क्यों हो रहा है? क्योंकि confusion है. Confusion क्यों है? क्योंकि हमने कभी सोचा ही नहीं, कभी question ही नहीं करा, validation नहीं मिली. और validation कौन देगा? The new people will give us validation when we start going into action. And that actually helps you understand also. So you might be looking out for new people, new societies, new friends, new group of people, people who are different from you, who actually get you out of your comfort zone. That's why they say ना, आप किसी के साथ ऐसे हाथ मिलाओ जो आपसे बिल्कुल अलग है, कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा. और क्या सीखने को मिलेगा? हो सकता है आपको ये सीखने को मिले that person doesn't take out the best in you. हो सकता है, but ये भी हो सकता है that person takes out the best in you. It's a 50-50 probability. जिंदगी सब चीज की 50-50 है ना, गुड और बैड. हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता, बट बिन करे तो पता भी नहीं लगेगा. So people who deal with depression, people who deal with the fact that they are at loggerheads of this confused state of mind also go through this identity loss. And I'll tell you one thing, the people who are dealing with depression and dealing with any kind of illness where they are not feeling great, the concept of identity feels alien to them. They don't feel okay within themselves. Emptiness wali feeling aati. I've been there. Identity loss is a very it's a very uncomfortable feeling because you question so many things that you never did. And it's all about you. You question all the way going back to your parents. You question all the way going back to your grandparents. You question all the way going back to your school. You question all the way going back to your friends. You question all the way going back to your spouses. There is so much. And that dilemma of not knowing really, really starts eating in. And that energy just feels very low. Very low energy, very heavy energy, very confused energy, very lethargic energy. So there were 3 types of effects that confusion has on your body that I covered on Saturday. So the first was actually about that The confused state of mind gets you into a very dull state. And this dull state is this depressed, this lethargic, this unactive, this lazy, this always in the bed, this person who constantly is unaware, is constantly so out of it, stays zoned out, that kind of a person. That's the first category of body behavior that you experience when there's too much confusion. This I'm talking on the extreme. But anyone who feels that there is been a lethargic behavior for the past couple of weeks needs to recognize that this is out of confusion. You're confused, you don't know क्या करना है आगे. सो ही जा रहे हो, सो ही जा रहे हो, सो ही जा रहे हो. People call it depression. Depression में भी बंदा सोता ही रहता. Fine. There are so many aspects to look at it. Eventually, what are you doing about it? Recognize it. Get help. Second, opposite. The second effect that you have on your body is opposite. Hyper. Extremely hyper. सब कुछ करना है. सब करना है. सब मैं करूंगा. मैं ये भी कर लूंगा, मैं वो भी कर लूंगा, मैं ऐसे भी कर लूंगा, मैं वैसे भी कर लूंगा, मैं उधर भी जाऊंगा, मैं इधर भी जाऊंगा. कोई बात नहीं, मेरी नींद नहीं पूरी हुई, कोई बात नहीं, मैंने खाना नहीं खाया, कोई बात नहीं, मैंने अपने काम नहीं पूरे करे, कोई बात नहीं, मैं I'll do everything. हाइपर. उस टाइम पे बंदा बोलता है बीपी खा लो, बीपी की दवाइयां खा लो. उस टाइम पे बंदा बोलेगा आप कोई एंजाइटी की मेडिसिन ले लो. उस टाइम पे कोई आपको बोलेगा आपको पैनिक अटैक्स हो रहा है. anything. The fact is you're confused. That is the second, and this is by study. I'm not making this up. This is as per study. And the third becomes that you are actually a mix between both. So you swing like a pendulum. One day you're so lazy, the other day you're so hyperactive. Next day you're so lazy, other day you're so hyperactive. You change, but you're still confused. So you're trying to break your mold, but yet you're not able to find any sort of clarity. Clarity comes from action. Clarity never comes from, let me make this out there. This is a universal law. Clarity only comes from action. Bin kare nahi pata lagega if it works out, doesn't work out. Right? The thought is what we have been built up by everyone around us. Society, parents, teachers, education system, coaches, bosses, spouses, children, सबने बताया हुआ है. सिर्फ बताया है. It's your job to get into action, to know it for yourself. Because once you know it for yourself, you have clarity. तब आप बोल सकते हो, it doesn't work out for me. And when you say that it doesn't work out for me, I'm sure you'll come across a lot of people say, but it does work out for me ना. ऐसे भी लोग हैं ना. दो तरीके के हमेशा मिलेंगे ना. So when you want to know, and ways you can start knowing yourself, and the first and foremost way for you to know yourself is to start becoming quieter. What does it mean? Confused state is like, जैसे ये तार नहीं होती ऐसे गुचड़ी मुचड़ी सी. A confused state is always like this. Always. You want to know yourself, you need to first calm yourself down. Usually works with breath work. Because when you want to pick up this bunch of wires in your mind, and you want to untangle them, for this you need patience. For this you need to be aware कि इसका end क्या होगा, कहाँ से निकलेगा, कहाँ से पहली तार है, all that. So to sit with this, you have to be calm. For calm, you have to do a little breath work. You need to be okay. You need to quieten yourself. Sit down. For me, I like to have a hot beverage. That works for me. So when I sit down, you can sit down, be quiet, and start listing out what you are. And what you are means, what are your strengths? People give you compliments, strengths. Those are your strengths. Very compassionate. You're very caring. You go out of your way. Strengths, understanding, strengths. Other people misbehaved it and mistreated your understanding. That's a separate thing. But your understanding is your strength, right? Your understanding. You're someone who is very quick with deciding. So you're very decisive. You're someone who's very good with making decisions. You're someone who knows where to cut the cord. You're someone who knows where to cut the nonsensical conversations. You're someone who's very clear on getting things done, systematic. ये करना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, set, sorted, clear, organized, systematic, practical. All are your strengths. Work on those strengths. Remember and go back. These are all evidences. Again, these are all evidences for you to think, acha, haan, I am fantastic. I'm very caring. Are you caring? I don't know. But if somebody has actually given you that as a compliment, definitely there is an evidence because they felt it, right? So there is an evidence. So think about those strengths. Next talks about your values. What are your values? What did you grow up believing? What is good for you? What is bad for you? How do you live your life? Do you live it with honesty? Do you live it with integrity? Do you live it with aspiration? Do you live it with inspiration? Do you live it with sincerity? Do you live it with perfection? What do you live it with? What are your core values? Right? And you want to question the beliefs also you have, because what happens is we get so tied up with the belief systems that we have, we get so attached to those belief systems that we are not willing to take someone else's belief systems and accept it. कैसा भी हो सकता है? How many of you know this? हमें अपने बारे में तो पहले पता नहीं है, दूसरे को हम और क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं और अपने आप को भी डिफेंड कर रहे हैं. Doesn't work, right? But knowing your belief systems is a good benchmark, fantastic benchmark for you to start recognizing what you have grown up with. And those beliefs are based out of these: what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. What is the truth for you is different for someone else. Truth is subjective. Everyone's truth is different, right? And you need to also recognize who you are. Are you a 40%er? Accept yourself at a 40%er. That's perfectly fine. I was happy accepting myself कि मेरे grace marks आते थे, 40% आते थे. I had accepted myself कि मैं उतना ही कर सकती हूँ, and I'm okay with it. मैं पास हो जाऊँ, वही बहुत बड़ी बात है. स्कूल में यही हाल था. आज की डेट में 99 also seems not good enough. Why? I don't know. I have to recognize why there was a sudden shift like that. And I understood that in my 12th, when I started picking up topics that I like. So in 12th, when I picked up a topic which was fine arts, painting, I like because I'm a creative person. पूरे school I failed. Okay, 40 आते थे, 40, 50 आते थे, बस. 12th, I got 97 in fine arts. I topped my board. And it's then when I realized that I will perform my best when the topics are of my choice and I love it. Today, as a coach, nothing is good enough. Constantly trying, because this is so amazing. The topics are so amazing and you want to help so many people and you want to tell them about so many things. लेकिन अगर कोई वो interest ही नहीं है, so then I will not be able to do it. लेकिन वो भी मेरे को accept करना पड़ेगा. Some topics I get which I don't recognize with, I don't understand. But मेरे को वो recognize करना पड़ता है कि मैं 60% से ज़्यादा शायद इसमें invest नहीं कर सकती. जो मेरे को पसंद है उसमें मैं 100 क्या 2000% जाऊंगी. Accepting who you are and what you can do in that. And that goes with any aspect. That goes with even relationships. That even goes with your wealth. That even goes with the kind of hard work you want to put in any aspect. कहीं पर भी. If you've not grown up with doing घर के chores, you'll find any excuse. नहीं करना. पता है नहीं करना. But you know that if someone is ill और खाना बनाना पड़ेगा जैसे मर्जी बने, you do it. You need to accept some aspects of your life as who you are and be okay with it. Being okay with ourselves is so new. पता ही नहीं. People call it arrogance, right? It's not arrogance. The fact that you have start recognizing yourself, it becomes part of your confidence. Unfortunately, the large section of the population is confused. So when they're confused, they don't recognize confidence. When they don't recognize confidence, they label it as arrogance. So it's not about arrogance. It's about you knowing yourself. Obviously, you can sit down, write your books, you write your diaries, write your journals. कितने लोग कहते हैं आप कुछ भी लिखो. क्यों लिखना जरूरी है? It's a good reminder. It's a fantastic reminder. You know why? Because this machine that we have in our brain, this fantastic machine, this is very good because इसके अंदर एक और आपका जो कहता है ना self doubt बैठा है और वो बहुत स्मार्ट है, वो बहुत शाना है. वो क्लियरली आपको आपके डायरेक्शन से ना डाइग्रेस करके बोलेगा, अच्छा तेरे को ये चाहिए, अरे यार तुमसे इतना तो होता है नहीं, ये तो करके दिखाओ पहले. Writing it down helps you telling this mind to say, you know what, ये मैंने किया है, ये मैं बताता हूँ मैंने कैसे किया है. So journaling it or writing it down or writing a diary, then you start giving that evidence, and that evidence then makes this person shut up. It's a good way. कुछ भी छोटा लिखो आप. I know someone mentioned in one of my sessions, she said when I was talking about that you should use your intelligent mind to work for you, right? So it should be giving you evidence of the good things. So she mentioned, and it was very sweet, she mentioned कि आप ना अपने अच्छे जो आपने जो actions करे या जो आपने चीजें करी है दूसरों पे, and the kind of person you are, आप छोटे छोटे चिट्स पे लिख के ना जार में डाल दो. जिस दिन आपको इतना एक बड़ा सैड सा दिन लग रहा है, बड़ा डिप्रेसिंग सा दिन लग रहा है, उस दिन एक जार में जाओ, एक पर्चा खोलो, रीड इट एंड फील गुड अबाउट इट. Reminders are very important. We remind ourselves of all the pathetic things we do. हमेशा ये नहीं होता, वो नहीं होता, ये भी नहीं होता, वो भी नहीं होता. Parents are also so critical. Because parents will not stick to one. When they get upset, then वो 100 चीजें गिनवा देते हैं हमें. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. At whatever age you are, if you have a parent, if they get upset, they will tell you 15 things that are wrong with you, and you will then ponder about all those 15 things. Eventually क्या होता है? As an adult, you start getting confused again. Because you believe your parents know you best. But do they? No. They don't know you 100%. They can know you 99%. But only you know yourself 100%. So, reminders of goods are very important. Right? So, okay, so let's do a quick recap, and I'm going to talk about all those things where you can start working on yourself. So today we're talking about identity loss, the concept of feeling that emptiness, the concept of feeling that you don't know yourself. It all starts with awareness. It all starts with you recognizing who you are. It all starts with your self today. I don't want you to go in the past in too much. Take evidence which reflects your positive. That's it. Don't go jump into the future of what you think you are, how you think you will react. What ifs? I should have. छोड़ दो वो. जो हो अभी पहले उसको accept करते हैं. So today, accepting ourselves is very important. Making sure that we use our intelligent mind is very important. Understanding the strengths is very important. Recognizing our core values is very important. Believing and recognizing what belief systems we've grown up with. It could be in any aspect. It could be with money, it could be with relationships, it could be with spouses, it could be with children, it could be with anything. And the belief systems are simple as basic as, अगर आपके पेरेंट्स ने आपको कोई चीज बोली है कि बच्चों ने ऐसे ही चलना है, आपने अनकॉन्शियसली वो ही बिलीफ आगे पास ऑन करा है अपने बच्चों को. बिलीफ सिस्टम्स वो होते हैं. अगर पेरेंट्स ने आपको कॉन्स्टेंटली बोला है पैसे पेड़ पे नहीं उगते, आपने वही बिलीफ सिस्टम अपने बच्चों को सिखाया है तो उसे पैसे पेड़ पे नहीं उगते बच्चे, वो उठा के इधर शिफ्ट कर दिया, दैट्स इट. बट व्हाट इज इट? पैसे पेड़ पे नहीं उगते, अग्रीड, अग्रीड, नहीं उगते. बट फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स perspective, from that generation, life has changed, development has changed, education has changed, security has changed, so much has changed. उनके टाइम पे वो चीजें नहीं थी. That is why it seemed like a goal that you couldn't even achieve. That is why they also went on and on to say, कोई खुश नहीं रहता, कोई perfect नहीं है. You know, you have to accept everyone. Agreed, you have to accept everyone. Agreed, you have to be open about it. अब वो चीज आप फिर अपनी जनरेशन में अप्लाई करते हो. अपनी जनरेशन में भी आप इतने सॉर्टेड नहीं हो, इतने खुश नहीं हो, क्योंकि वो चीज आपने सिर्फ एक्सेप्ट कर दी है एज अ बिलीफ सिस्टम. यू लिविंग इन दैट बिलीफ सिस्टम, बट दैट्स नॉट हु यू आर. इवेंचुअली आप क्या करते हो, आपके बच्चे आते हैं, आप नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को वही चीज बोलते हो, नोबडी इज परफेक्ट, यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट एवरीवन. आज की डेट में जनरेशन कह रही है, व्हाट डू यू मीन एक्सेप्ट एवरीवन? इवेंचुअली अगेन यू रीच अ क्रॉस रोड, अगेन कंफ्यूजन. मतलब you've grown up in that. For you that is the truth, for you that is the belief system, for you that is पत्थर की लकीर, क्योंकि वो जी रहे हैं. हमने करा है, तुम भी कर सकते हो. वो बच्चा कह रहा है मेरा वो कैपेसिटी नहीं है, मेरी कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है, मैं नहीं कर सकता. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, पुश कर दिया है. So every generation keeps changing. Every generation you have also picked up from your parents. You have also earned more from your parents. You have also grown up better from your parents. You have also taken what works and what doesn't work. But in today's day and age, when you recognize what doesn't work, let it go. Make your life simple. Let it go. It doesn't serve you anything. It makes you more hyper. It makes you get into anxiety. Let it go. So that's my tip. That you need to start recognizing what works and what doesn't work at the end of the day. And with that, you can start living a life where you know yourself. And that knowing yourself can happen in any age. आज की डेट में सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो रही है when children have such confused friends, education system, tutors, teachers, parents. Parents are confused, so the children are confused. By the time they hit 20, 21, they massively hit depression. पता ही नहीं क्या करना है. पेरेंट्स डिसाइड कर रहे हैं कि मेरे को ये कोर्स करना है, पेरेंट्स डिसाइड कर रहे हैं मैंने ये नौकरी करनी है, पेरेंट्स डिसाइड कर रहे हैं सब कुछ. The fact that midlife crisis used to jump in for the older generation, my parents' generation, was because their parents were deciding for them. नहीं तो इंजीनियर ही बनना, नहीं तो डॉक्टर ही बनना. Understanding? So when other people started taking a decision for you, it never got you any clarity because you never did it. जब खुद नहीं करा तो पता कैसे होगा? दूसरे कह रहे हैं हम कर रहे हैं, दूसरे कह रहे हैं हम जी रहे हैं. ऊपर पे आके बंदा इतना थक जाता है, इतना परेशान हो जाता है. So they decide to say, you know what, I need to know myself. तो वो क्या करते हैं? वो suddenly then they get into, I want to take a trip. I need a break. सबैटिकल ले लेंगे काम से, छुट्टी ले लेंगे, ट्रिप पे चले जाएंगे. But all of that they're doing just to escape this period, escape that moment. But they're not questioning. So go back and question, recognize yourself, and eventually take your call. Our generation is just quicker. The next generation will be even worse. वो तो फट ऐसे decisions लेगी. Because ये अब concepts बहुत ज्यादा आने लग रहे हैं personalities के ऊपर. And ये इसलिए आने लग रहे हैं because we've started recognizing and seeing the damage that it's doing when we just blindly follow. आंख बंद करके blindly follow तो करना नहीं है हमने. So we need to start recognizing. And I hope this was fun for you. So this is at 8:43. I'm going to wrap it up. And I hope that kuch clarity hui. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say one thing and I'm going to close it with one thing. It only comes from action. That's it. All right. Open for discussion.
Thank you, Sareena. It was very brilliant and I really enjoyed it. And I could see that self in myself as well, and in my generation, and even in my grandson's generation.
Yes, yes. आपको लगेगा हाँ एग्जैक्टली आपको अपने पेरेंट्स से वो चीज फील होगी आपको अपने अपने लेवल पे फील होगी और आपको फिर अपने नेक्स्ट जनरेशन पे फील भी होगी आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट यस
And the gap I am finding is tremendous.
यस यस
Tremendous
ब्यूटीफुल
gap.
बट या आई एम वेरी हैप्पी आप उस दिन आए थे आई थिंक उसमें परप्लेक्स पर्सनालिटी वाले वर्कशॉप पे ना
I don't remember what
सैटरडे
you said. Yes, yes, sir.
यस
Yes, yes.
गुड
So I
सेशन
try to join sessions, especially by you. And you are
oh
a brilliant, brilliant coach.
oh
And
thank
you
you
have very well way of expressing yourself. That is tremendous.
thank you
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you Pritam ji